We can start now.
Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. I am Nadia Baha, in Algeria. And today, for this session, we are pleased to receive Professor Moustafa Nawito for accepting to share your experience with us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Presentation is shared. So, Professor.
I'm sorry, Dr. Nadia, I can't hear you. I think there's a problem with the feed, or?
I think we have a connection problem.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Moustafa, for joining us in this talk and agree to share your wide experience with us.
My pleasure.
We would like to properly introduce you. So, Professor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Dr. Lubna.
Yeah, sorry. Professor Nawito is actually a professor of electronics and communication engineering. I'm sorry, just 1 minute.
It's okay. It's okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Nadia, the mic is yours. I think Dr. Nadia left.
I'm sorry, I think there is a problem with the connection. So I think I will just present the the talk. So Professor is a specialist in microelectronics and got his PhD from the University of Stuttgart, Germany, and worked in several scientific institutions and is a member of IEEE and other technical societies and associations. Today, he will share with us his experience and address the challenges facing young and upcoming scientists and engineers, the causes of these challenges and how to deal with such issues. His presentation is entitled Training the Next Generation of Technology Leaders. The talk will last 30 minutes, followed by a discussion. So, Dr. Tafadal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nadia. Thank you very much, Dr. Lubna, for the kind introduction. I will just share my screen. So can you see my screen now? Okay, great. So thank you for the kind introduction, everyone, and welcome to this talk. My name is Moustafa Nawito. I'm an electronics engineer. I've been designing integrated circuits for the past 22 years, most recently in my own startup, Polymath Analog. I'm also at the working in academia, currently serving as a professor of electrical engineering and the vice dean of engineering at the IU International University. So since we only have 30 minutes, I'd like to encourage you to ask questions during the talk. The more interactive it is, the better, and we will have time at the end also for questions. And mainly, I would like to discuss with you three things. First of all, these aspects I find the most relevant. So I want to explain to you my motivation in choosing this topic and my ideas on how the academic sector and the industry can contribute to the solution. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, I would like to share with you some lessons that I've learned along the way and have been of great benefit to me and hopefully will be beneficial to you as well. As I said, we will have time for questions, but I very much welcome your interactions. And just a heads up, since I am an electronics engineer, I will go through these three aspects using the semiconductor industry as an example. Now, I know, of course, the audience are not just engineers, but have an interesting mixture of background and specialties. So I'll try to make this as relatable as possible to everyone. So yeah, so why did I choose this topic? Well, as you may have seen in my brief bio, I've been doing mainly two things throughout my career, which is the design and development of integrated circuits and electronics, and working in the academic sector, and not only as a researcher or a teacher, but also as an accreditation officer for the European Union. So I'm usually in committees that travel to universities all over the world, and we review them and see whether their degrees are compatible with the laws and with the standards of the European Union. And even though industry and academia can be quite different in many aspects and quite dissimilar, I actually noticed that there is a common factor which connects both of these fields, and that is, unfortunately, there's a pressing and dire need to reconsider how we can empower and nurture young talents with the necessary knowledge and skills, not just to grow and strive. And I thought this would be very fitting for the theme of this workshop. Now, by the way, this is not just my personal opinion. This is not just a personal observation. The symptoms for this problem are quite obvious. So Generation Z, which more or less includes the overwhelming majority of the audience, has shown to be skeptic of university education, and it turns out that we're seeing some very alarming trends, some exodus from the academic sector, mainly because that young people believe that it's unnecessary and it's unwise to, quote unquote, waste money and time on academic education while they could be learning a practical skill and contribute to the so-called gig economy, where people just do odd jobs and not necessarily have one career. This kind of thought is quite widespread in young people now. And there are also a lot of temptations. So, for example, coding has been considered that it's to be the golden egg-laying goose. And we see here that when it comes to electrical engineering versus computer science, the number of enrollment in electrical engineering is dropping rapidly, and computer science education is growing. And people don't even need to study to have any formal kind of study in computer science in order to join the developer community. They could just learn how to code. This might have been true and probably is still true for quite a while, but times are changing. And, you know, learning to code is not going to cut it anymore. Or even considering the computer science degree as the only viable option. Because like it or not, with generative AI, the paradigm and the approach for software development and software production has been fundamentally changed, irreversibly. And I'm not saying that the role of human coders and role of human engineers will disappear, but it will drastically change. So just learning how to write code is not enough. And I've seen the repercussion of this, let's say, dislike for academic studies, also in my industry. So just, to give you an idea, electronics is, basically the enabler of virtually every innovation in every aspect that we have. So electronics is there in consumer gadgets, in healthcare, in mobility, and in automation and security. You have an electronic chip wherever you go, whatever you work. So much so that semiconductors have been termed as the new oil. So in these graphs you see in front of you, you see how integrated circuits add to the GDP of countries, and the US specifically. But unfortunately, even though this is a very lucrative and very, very appealing, very promising industry, we see that the trend of lack of talents is also affecting the semiconductor industry, so much so that it's now presenting an existential threat. We have real issues finding young talents that will fill the void in the manufacturing side and also in the design side. And this is just one statistic. So in the US alone, you have a shortage of almost 70,000 workers in the semiconductor industry until the year 2030. This is quite ominous. To be honest, it is also not surprising that young talents are shying away from technical subjects, because a cause of the problem is also what the industry expects. So industry is expecting a magician to join the workforce directly after graduation, which is, of course, unrealistic to say the least. Now, I could go on and trying to analyze the root of the problem, but I think the issue is obvious, and there is a dire need to take a stand and actually to reverse this really alarming trend where young people no longer want to join technical fields. So what is there to be done? Since I had the fortune and the pleasure of working both in academia and in the industry, I will discuss possible solutions from both sides. Now, it would be quite arrogant for me to say that I have all the answers. I don't. I just have, I certainly have some of them. So what universities can do a lot of things to attract young talents. I believe a major issue that hasn't been properly addressed till now is the relationship that universities have with technology. And this is a global issue, and allow me to explain. So there's this ongoing debates, global ongoing debate about the use of technology in higher education. And when I say global, I really mean it. I mean, I've reviewed countless curricula and syllabi from in 4 continents. I've had literally hundreds of discussions with professors and stakeholders, and I always see these two camps. On one side, people think that the use of technology in education will, it's the root of all evil. This is the future that we have. We become robots, and introducing technology in education is a death sentence to human innovation and ingenuity. And we should stick to good old mathematics and do everything the old-fashioned way. On the other hand, I've met some futurists and technology evangelists who believe that the aggressive adoption of technology is the only way forward, and pen and paper and good old mathematics even are relics of an old era, and we should just focus on teaching people practical skills and forget about theory. Now, needless to say, both of them have a part of the truth, and also, in my humble opinion, both of them are wrong. The only way forward is actually to combine. And when I say combine, I don't mean having lectures and labs and practical sessions and training in the summer. We've been doing that for the past 200 years. What I mean by that is that the role of technology has to be integrated in the teaching itself. It shouldn't be theory and practice separated. Both of them go hand in hand. In other words, we should rethink the language of science. So for a very long time, the language of science has always been mathematics. It still is. But mathematics gave us computer science, and it gave us software, and it gave us simulations. So for example, let me just stop the sharing for a moment to talk with you directly. So for example, when I developed the curriculum for my study program at the university, from the very first day, students are using simulation tools and practical work hand in hand with theory. So they still have to solve the sheets, they still have to do handwritten problems, but they leverage their knowledge and they leverage their understanding using state-of-the-art software. And we present them with software that is not intended for educational use, but software that they will actually work with when they become members of the labor force, when they become practicing engineers. It's not a matter of either one or the other. It's actually combining both in the most minute details. And we actually tried this in online teaching. I know some of you might be wondering how you can do online teaching for engineering. Well, it's been working beautifully till now, so much so that we're seeing a benefit of giving the students the flexibility of working on the engineering problems from the comfort of their own home. And using technology, we can interact, we can actually do practical lab work. We send them the lab kits at home, they can work on it and present the reports. We can, I can guide them live in live sessions. So to make a long story short, I think a huge part of the solution lies in how universities look at technologies. And you might be surprised, so for example, some universities in Europe, specifically in Germany, they still shy away from adopting technology till now. And I've been in other countries which are not necessarily as rich, where they believe that, forget about math, just focus on the lab. I think the way forward is to combine both. Are there any questions or? Okay, doesn't seem to be the case. So that is very quickly what I think universities must do, and academia must fundamentally rethink. Now, of course, industry has also a part to play. And, when you're trying to get a small startup from the ground up, like I'm doing, you must focus on many, many different things. And I've noticed that there aren't enough talents that we can recruit because simply they don't find the correct mentorship from the industry side. Now, there are some skills that do not belong in a lecture, a hall, or a lab. There are some skills that you will learn only at your desk in your job. So we decided to contribute to the solution by actually opening a complete, business unit where we provide so-called practice-based workshops and seminars. And when we say practice-based, this is not just a gimmick. I mean, these are workshops that are based on our experience in developing actual products. And by the way, if you're wondering what is the background behind me, this is an electronic chip, just to give you an idea how much electronics means to us. So practice-based means that the content is not something that you will find in a textbook or even in an advanced university program. It is something that you really find out with trying things yourself and working with clients, working on actual industry projects. And we try to distill that and offer it to the public. And we used to do that only to our consulting clients, but we were very positively surprised to see that not only experienced engineers and design managers are interested in these kinds of courses, but even fresh graduates and students. So much so that I had to do some introductory webinars to explain to them that these are very advanced topics, but still, I mean, the resonance was very clear. Young people are looking for this kind of mentorship. So I don't want to make this as an advertisement. If you want to take a look at it, just visit our website. Now comes the part that is most important to me. I have just compiled a few, I wouldn't say, for the lack of a better term, lessons, but these are things that I learned along the way that have really, really made a difference in my career and enabled me to contribute. And before I continue, I just want to briefly define what I mean by technology leaders. I don't necessarily mean having a managerial position. A leader is a trendsetter. A leader is a person who inspires others. Now, you can be a team member and you inspire even your superiors and your colleagues and your teammates. And to be honest, this has, I wouldn't say, it's not just the technical side. You have to be very proficient in what you do. But if I may teach you something today, it will be to focus on the following behavioral aspects and how you consider your attitude towards your job and towards your career. So the first thing I want to share with you, and this is very relevant to young people in the Arabic world, please make as many mistakes as possible. We believe in the Arabic world that making mistakes is a bad thing, and you try to avoid it and you try to be a perfectionist. No, that's a really counterproductive, even dangerous mentality. The only way you gain experience is by making mistakes. But what you should not do, well, what isn't allowed is, it happens, but it shouldn't happen, is to repeat the mistakes. So learn from your mistakes, and this is engraved also in our culture and in the Islamic tradition. Also, on the other hand, not just avoid making mistakes, make a conscious decision to become better at something every day, just an incremental step. And since I'm talking to engineers and technical people in the audience, you know that if you have a small infinitesimal step, but you keep integrating these steps one after the other from here until infinity, you reach infinity. But this has to be a conscious decision. Just don't go with the flow. Just don't become, a prisoner in your own habits. Also, I don't care how senior you are, how how educated you are. You have to learn something every day. You're not too cool for school, and you should stop when you are in the grave. I'm sorry for being blunt, but I've had some very interesting discussions with colleagues from all different backgrounds, all different experiences, and at some point people think, well, they've learned all there is to learn. Nothing could be further from the truth. And you don't have an excuse. It never has been such an abundance of information in human history as there is now. So, and you can pay for it, you can find it free. It's just there for the taking. And every day we add, I don't know how many petabytes of information to the combined human knowledge. Use it to your own advantage. And try to situate yourself as an expert in something. Like I'm very happy that I've had the opportunity to learn different things, but when I introduce myself, I usually introduce myself as a chip designer, because this is what I know best. This is my career and my vocation and my calling. This is my center line. And by the way, you should attempt for people to call you an expert, but you should try to refrain from using the word yourself. I mean, let the people judge. But at the same time, try to have a balance. So there's a word in German called Fachidiot. A Fachidiot has a knowledge profile that looks like this. You're just very deep in one topic, and you are mercilessly free of knowledge in any other topic. So this is really dangerous, and it's not going to help you in the future. And don't also be a jack of all trades, someone who is an intellectual, who just knows some sound bites and some information about many different topics, but when you really grill them, it turns out that they don't know anything. This is the profile you should look for, you should strive for. You should have a main line of knowledge, and you should also have knowledge in other fields. For example, one of the fields that you have to master is the field of communication. Now, I can't tell you how many problems I've faced in my career because I wasn't talking the same language as my counterpart was. And when I'm saying language, I mean English, German, Arabic, mathematics, Python, chemistry, empathy, body language. Communication is key. And the world, the future is really interdisciplinary. So I'll give you a very small example. So, for example, in electronics, when we work on biomedical applications, you have to learn some biology. You have to learn some medicine, some physiology. You have to learn some chemistry. You have to learn about different fields. So I'm not just talking about, if you're a computer engineer, you should know something about electrical engineering, or if you're a mechanical engineer, you should know something about civil engineering. No, you should actually broaden your horizon. And this goes for non-engineers as well. So if you plan to become a financial advisor for a certain technology-based industry, you should be extremely well acquainted with this technology, with your industry. So this is an example of chips that we work on. I mean, this specific chip was developed by the University of Ulm, which is an retina implant that goes inside the eye to restore vision. I wrote this to be a little bit provocative. So value your time as if you will live only once. Now, I don't know what you believe, but personally, I'm quite sure that we will live only once. At least one life where we have the chance to work and contribute. So time is your most important currency. And I promise you, we all waste time. I waste time every day. I'm conscious of that. I try to become more respectful of time every day. I try to become better at this every day. At the same time, you shouldn't attempt to be an expert within a few weeks or even a few years. Everything that is worth learning takes time to learn, and you should adopt this. You should give yourself the time to improve and focus on what you're doing and stop being distracted. I've known young people who have in the past 2-3 years has switched jobs 10 times. Don't do that. Focus, give yourself time to grow. And it's just a thought experiment. Like if you're trying to become a better runner within a month, you might become substantially better. But what if you try to become a better runner within a year? Imagine how much progress you will make. Take control and hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable. If the world doesn't necessarily happen to you, you should also attempt to change the circumstances. And I know we all have our headaches, we all have our problems, we all have things that we cannot control, but there are still many, many things you can control in your life. Start with yourself and hold yourself accountable. If you want to blame someone, for the lack of a better word, blame yourself first and then see what others have done. Develop an extremely important skill of trying to find the answer yourself. Unfortunately, some young people have lacked the capability of working independently. Now, I will talk about mentorship in a few moments, but you have to have the initiative to work hard. And even if you're completely new, just attempt to find the way yourself. This process, this journey, is the most valuable experience you can achieve. On the other hand, you should never shy away from asking questions. Like when you do your homework, ask as many questions as you want, and then some more, and ask everyone. I learn from my students every day, and it is very unfortunate. It's very stupid, actually, to deprive yourself of knowledge because you have an ego, or as we say in Arabic, that's a really, really wasteful attitude. And you should always seek mentorship. It doesn't matter how old you are. We say in Arabic, we say in Egypt, which means that if you don't have someone to look up to, look for someone, buy someone. Or I mean, Isaac Newton said that he stood on the shoulders of giants. So find yourself a mentor at every stage of your life. This is, when I wrote this dedication, I had 15 years of experience. But still, I found someone who was capable of mentoring me and showing me how I could go beyond my perceived limits. And I've already been a senior engineer by that point, but you're never too cool for school. And when we're talking limits, trust me, limits are variable. So whatever you perceive as your own limits, go above them, and then you will come at further limits, and then you can go above those. Remember Einstein and Newton and all these intelligent geniuses, they were people just like you, okay? And I've had many experiences with this where I just had to shift my attitude and say, I'm not too stupid to learn this. Other people have done it. I can do it as well. Make yourself known. Make some noise. Let the world give you feedback. Publish. Publish on YouTube. Publish on Stack Exchange. Publish on GitHub. Make a blog. Make a website. Open yourself up for criticism. Open yourself up for feedback. This is invaluable and it's so easy. Teach others. Trust me, you will become better. You will become wiser and you will learn from them more than they will learn from you. And I see that I've broken the 30 minutes mark. So the last thing I want to tell you, and I've left this till the end, the best investment you can possibly make is in yourself. So you are a priority. And by the way, it's a linguistic fallacy to say there's the first priority and top priority and the second priority. A priority is just one. So you are the priority. Invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, and you will definitely not regret it. I hope this was informative and painless. I thank you very much for your kind attention. And I think we have a few minutes for questions. So I'll be more than happy to answer them in case you have any questions.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for this very informative presentation, all these يعني كل هذه النصائح القيمة, all these advice. I see the chat. So there is one question about how to improve our communication.
That is an excellent question. You should try and, first of all, explain something that you really understand to someone else. And this is a very potent, very good method, because you will immediately notice that the way you model the world to yourself, the way you model the problem to yourself, is not necessarily transferable to other people. So you need to try and convey your thoughts to others. And you should choose a very heterogeneous audience. So don't just talk to your colleagues or people in the same profession. Talk to people who are extremely far away and try to simplify the matter as much as possible without compromising the scientific quality or integrity. I cannot think of a better approach. Read a lot. Watch a lot of material in a language that is not your first language. But to make a long story short, communication with people is key. And an added bonus of trying to explain something is that you will immediately find out if you have mastered it or not. Nothing can expose holes in your understanding like trying to explain something to someone else. So that would be my advice to you.
Can I ask a question, Doctor?
Please.
Firstly, I would like to thank you for this beautiful presentation. It was really informative.
Thank you.
Actually, as you mentioned, that some universities are not developed with high qualified technologies. So as a student, there's a limitation in how I can participate in the scientific research, for example, in my home country. So what do you advise us to go over this challenge?
Okay, that is an excellent question. May I ask what your field of expertise is? What is your specialty?
Yeah, applied physics.
Brilliant. Now, applied physics, of course, is different than theoretical physics, so you need a lab to work.
Yeah.
I can tell you the following, because the semiconductor industry is extremely expensive, and to do research in electronics, you have to have access to a lot of money. Nevertheless, if you have an internet connection, there is a huge array of open source resources that you can use to fill the gap So I'll just say this in Arabic. ما لا يؤخذ كله لا يترك كله. You might not be able to do the experiments that you want to do in your home country, in your own lab, but you can try to simulate. You can try to model, and if you find that there is a lacking in this area, you can try to contribute yourself. There's a huge world of open source knowledge out there, even paid source knowledge. You just have to know where to look. On the other hand, you should network. You should, as I said, make yourself known, expose yourself. This you will get noticed. I didn't want to go through my personal journey, but I've been invited to give talks or to work at other universities with the mere fact that I try to publish my work as often as I can, even if it's not complete. The third and last advice I can give you is you should think in reverse. So you are definitely trained on certain methods in scientific research. Instead of going logical steps 1, then 2, then 3, try to see what you want to achieve, and then go backwards and see if I want to achieve this, what can I do? What are the alternatives? You'd be surprised how many alternatives you can find. I mostly find that if I try to advise someone to solve a problem, I come up with better solutions that I'm trying to solve a problem for myself. I hope that helps you a little bit.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So there was someone raising their hands.
Yes, may I?
Yes, please.
Only one question, because unfortunately we are out of time. Yeah, please.
Okay. First of all, thank you all for having us here. It was a great, informative, inspired session. Anyway, I was interested about the publication. You mentioned that you need to publish your work. You need to make your voice heard. But as you know, Professor, publishing was a difficult step for both. At least for some of us, because you know they asking sometimes they asking for fees on the medical magazine or medical website for publication. So can you please help us? I think there is some website doesn't ask for fees, or there's some way to publish our work without at least there's a cheapest fees, or there's websites and maybe prefer other process.
Yes. I completely understand. Thank you. This is a very relevant question. So I take it from your question that you are studying to become a medical doctor or already in the medical profession?
Yes, I'm a graduate. Actually, I'm graduated from pharmacy faculty of Benghazi University.
Okay.
I hold, and I'm also a master student.
Okay, so I can tell you the following: the landscape when it comes to publishing is shifting. Like there are many, I would say, serious issues that we have with our current publishing system, and it's a big business. So you can make a lot of money having a publishing company, but there are also open venues, open source venues. Now, I'm not very adept with open source journals or open access journals for the medical community, but I'd be more than happy to ask and attempt to. I'll actually write my email here in the chat in case you want to contact me. And the other path, my dear doctor, is to publish in your own platform. So you may have results that are not completely ready yet, or you may have results that don't necessarily are publishable in a medical journal. Make a blog, if you're a little bit more courageous, make a YouTube channel. Find some platform that you can share these results with other researchers as well. This is the whole idea of the peer reviewing system. This is how it started. Now it has become this own industry, which definitely has its merits, but has also glaring flaws. So just try to find your own platform. And it's very easy. If you have a mobile phone, if you have an internet connection, just publish your thoughts and benefit from the exchange. And perhaps that will not only help you to be known, it will give you important feedback so that you can focus on certain results, and perhaps it will be worth it to attempt to pay these fees. Now, I'll be more than happy to continue this discussion with you later. I don't want to take the time of the next speaker, but I hope my answer helps you a little bit.
Yes, thank you, please. I really appreciate it if you could share your contact
Yes,
email,
it's in the chat.
with me.
I shared my
please.
email in the chat.
Yes,
Please,
thank
we
you so
don't
much.
see your
Moustafa,
email. I don't see it, but maybe it's in the chat.
it's in the chat. It's mustafa.nawito@polymath.analog.de.
Because there are other questions, but they can send an email to you.
Of course.
Thank you very much. And now I think it's the next session.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, and have a great day. Thank you. شكرا جزيلا. ألف شكر على حسن الاستضافة وعلى المناقشات الجميلة والمثرية، وأتشرف بمعرفة حضراتكم وإجابة على أسئلتكم في إيميل. شكرا دكتورة، شكرا جزيلا. السلام عليكم.
بارك الله فيك. وعليكم السلام.